Bad news for anyone who's ever cracked their iPhone screen and thought, I'll just get a new one.
It's because Apple has come face to face with the inevitable. They say higher prices are on the way, calling them unavoidable as the AI race drives up the cost of the memory and storage chips that power our devices. The timeline is still unclear, but experts say the next generation of Apple products could come with some serious sticker shock.
And that's not the only surprising headline about iPhones. Since the first model debuted in 2007, we've gotten selfies, food delivery apps, and apparently a lot fewer babies.
This is really interesting. New research is drawing conclusions between the smartphone revolution and falling birth rates. Dr. Jess Ghilani is here to break down some of the surprising findings and what they could mean for our society. This is fascinating because we've all been kind of following this trend and we think, oh, is it dating apps? Is it people holding off?
Yeah.
It's career driven.
Yeah.
And are all those things coinciding? So what is the new research actually finding?
So it's really interesting. Two separate groups of researchers found a connection between the advent of the iPhone and a decline in fertility rates. Since 2007, fertility rates have declined by 22%, which is significant. And what happened in 2007? Well, later this week marks the 19th anniversary of the release of the very first iPhone. Early iPhones had what was called a carrier monopoly, meaning that there was only one cell phone provider that you could use, and there was unevenness in terms of mobile broadband coverage. So not everybody could get it right away. There was high demand for it, but low supply. And what that meant was that these researchers could actually go back in time and do what they call a natural experiment to track the advent of the iPhone and whether or not it had, or the adoption of the iPhone, and whether or not it had any sort of kind of suppression of fertility rates. They found that it did. And one of the studies said that it declined by 33 to 54% of fertility in the area where it was released among women aged 15 to 44, with a higher even higher rate of suppression among 15 to 24-year-olds.
Wow, I mean, those are really significant rates, for sure.
So we're talking, because this is two different things. This is people choosing to have children, but what you're talking about is actual fertility.
Yes, so that's what these studies are looking at. They are trying to answer the question of like what happened in the last 20 years that made it so that people want to have less babies. And there are lots of possible answers to that question, and I think there's no one kind of magic bullet answer.
Because I was trying to figure out, like, what is the connection here? Are people just on their phones more often so they're not interested in, you know, doing the do?
That's part of it. There is what some researchers call a sex recession that shows that since the 1990s, people who have weekly sexual activity has declined from the mid-50s to the high 30s. So from the 90s to today. So people are, you know, if you're looking down at this, you're not looking at your person and connecting in a certain way with them. And the other thing that the researchers cite, of course, they talk about the Great Recession. They talk about efficacy and access to contraception, and they talk about the cost of childcare and the fact that that's making people think very carefully about how they plan their families.
You know, I think about like all the things, and again, maybe it is this, it's probably also a lot of other things. I mean, think about our phones give us access also to a lot of adult content. So there's that's happening.
Absolutely.
But I also think, like, you know, we had the recession in 2008. So we had some things that may have also contributed or added to or fueled it faster.
Yeah, for sure. And the Great Recession is often what people point to when they look at this decline in fertility over the last 2 decades. They often say that that is what it was. But these researchers want to say, you know, that there's actually more to it than just that. It's also how we live our lives. It's the fact that we do have widespread, easy access to adult-oriented content. And therefore, we may not be pursuing our needs in, you know, outside of our devices.
I want to put something out there, too. I also think it could be, I think these social media platforms are bringing more awareness to maybe some of the games that people are playing, whether it's men or women, when it comes to dating. Some of the manipulation tactics, too. And people are just like, I don't have time for that.
Yeah,
you know?
I do think that there has become a different attitude about whether or not people need to partner off and whether or not they need to pursue a family trajectory that is very narrow and, you know, involves this, that, and, you know, exact steps of things. So the age of first marriage has climbed. And the other thing is that if you actually look at generational bands, people over 30, the fertility rate hasn't declined as much for them. People are waiting to have children in a lot of cases. Right. So the decline is primarily in the groups of teenagers and young adults.
Got it. Okay. Dr. Jess, thank you. Really interesting conversation.
All right, well, Dr. Jess is conducting a lecture on making sense of digital media on July 21st at the Carnegie Library Hazelwood branch. We'll have more details for you on our website.
Next up, Christine Sorensen has the stories you don't want to miss tonight on the KDK Evening News. We'll be right back.